My side hustle is selling planners and Canva templates on Bookstagram, aka Book Instagram, where I talk about the books I read. So today I'm going to show you how I spend my Sunday usually every week when I prepare content for the following week. I'll show you my posting routine that brings me engagement and sales, and how I set up my books. As a bonus, you're going to see my 3 cats in the videos as well. They are my partners in crime. So hi, I'm Nisa. I have over 40k followers on my Bookstagram. I started last year and I made over $10,000 in the past few months. If you are following me for a while, I share everything about Bookstagram, how to be a content creator, how to create planners, digital products, everything in between. So if you wanna be with me on this journey, make sure to subscribe and follow me on Instagram. And let's get into this vlog. So every Sunday I usually start with a coffee and with my post for the day. I always prepare my post the day before actually posting, so I'll actually leave the last details for the next day. And I'm using Procreate to add a bit of magic and signature style to my post. I noticed since I'm doing this, my posts perform much better and the engagement is much better than before. I always try to give some kind of value through my posts or inspire people through them. In this case, I take part of a trend. I am a book lover and I'm not afraid to admit that. And this is one of those posts that perform very well just because it makes people relate and feel something. They usually leave comments like, feel the same way, I do the same things, this is my opinion. So you don't need an iPad or Procreate to add a touch of whimsical to your post. Or I simply use Canva, and in the Elements tab you can search for fine lines or aesthetic book lines. You can even use your mouse and add the lines yourself in Canva directly. So right after I finish adding all the elements in Procreate, I sync the iCloud backup on both of my devices, and then I'll continue posting the carousels from my phone. I find it more easy and reliable to see any mistakes or formatting issues. Also proceed to add a song just because my post has a higher chance to get on the Reels tab and get seen by more people. I'll also add some kind of valuable caption. I try to add as many keywords as possible just so that the algorithm picks up my post and shows it to more people. I have a routine of engaging with other people's posts 10 minutes before posting and also after, so that the algorithm knows that I'm active. Then I respond to everyone in my comment sections for the next 10 minutes and I continue with the rest of the day. From time to time I'll post what I'm doing throughout the day just to continue responding in the comments. First 24 hours are important for engagement and to boost your post. Then I proceed to film some content, and since I'm starting a new book, Powerless, which is a very popular book on BookTok, I try to film a few clips using my phone and a tripod I grabbed online, usually filming 4K by 30 frames per second, just because even if I film in 60 frames, Instagram will automatically lower the resolution and quality. I also don't do the editing today. I mostly film and take pictures for my content the next week. I'm lucky enough and I work from home at my 9 to 5 at a corporate job, and that allows me to wake up early and do my editing and final touches on my content. Still try to batch create my footage once a week, so I don't have to worry what to post the rest of the week. I make sure to save the footage in a separate folder because in a few months I will probably reuse most of the clips and the photos with a different message and fonts, just because chances are people didn't even see the post in the first place or they don't even remember my old content. I have an external microphone that I got for cheap on Amazon so that I can have the ASMR element to my reels. If the sound is too loud or it doesn't sound good, I'll redo directly in CapCut after I edit the main footage, just because I noticed people get hooked and are more likely to see through the whole reel if the sound is present. When I'll edit the footage, I will leave around 2 seconds per shot. Try to move the tripod around throughout the video for different angles. We'll probably also zoom certain parts so I can keep people hooked enough and entertained. One tip for reels that worked for me is to ask a question in the caption and even leave a story or something of value so that people read it later. After I've made a mess of my room, I try to put the things back and I continue with taking the book photos so I don't regret my life choices later when I have to clean everything at the same time. From here my process is easy. I'm trying to gather aesthetic things laying around my house, and usually my source of inspiration is Pinterest. Some of my favorite keywords are delicate bookish posts or aesthetic book photos, aesthetic girl photos. We don't want to copy paste, but rather see a similar setup that we can reproduce with the things we have laying around. Now the question is, where did I got all of these preps? My favorite place is Vinted. I think it's the equivalent of eBay in US. I am trying to be mindful of my money and I buy secondhand as often as I can. These photos I will use most likely for my book trends and tutorials. For example, if I don't include a specific book in the setup and just keep the book open, I can use it for basically anything I want. Now in terms of editing my photos, my favorite app is Lightroom. You can use the free version for your presets. You can also check out my link in bio for a free preset if you want, or look in the community tab for the available ones. I love using the same preset for all of my posts. This way my grid looks more cohesive and put together. For fonts I'm using Canva, and I will add on the screen the fonts that I use the most, but the thing is you can experiment with them and you don't have to use the same ones all the time. You can even use Procreate to handwrite your fonts. I have a couple of posts like that and they performed really well. I think it takes me around 1 hour to post everything and take all of the pictures, and after that I will probably make something to eat. So after I finish with breakfast, I continue with content creation, and this time we are creating some footage for promoting my reading planner. One of my income sources on Bookstagram are digital products, and I have a separate YouTube video about that and how you can make it too. Basically, I need to create a promotional post about my product. The best way I do this is by simply filming myself how I use it, rather than making a regular ad. I think you already know my rule of thumb in terms of posting. I have 4 types of content pillars and I rotate through them. First one is growth type of content, basically my educational posts. Nurture content, and that's usually my connection. These are behind the scenes posts, and inspirationals one, making people feel something. Don't usually bring as many followers as the growth ones. Third one is trends and taking part of them. And lastly, the promotional posts where I drive sales to my products. I try to only post about 10% of my content as promotional, 60% as valuable content, 20% nurturing, and 10% trends. These percentages might be different depending on the month, but valuable content is what grows your account the most. You have to think about Bookstagram as any other niche on Instagram and ask yourself, why are you following someone from your main account? You either know them in real life or they shared something that is valuable to you. Same principle on Bookstagram, and I am not talking about sharing tips about Bookstagram itself like I do, but definitely this is the reason why my account grew so much, as I share a lot of Canva tips and tricks, Instagram, and ideas, and I'm helping other Bookstagrammers with my content. But if you only want to post book-related content, you can still do this. You can still share valuable content with your followers. You can share your reading routine, how you get out of a reading slump, how you stopped doom scrolling. Point is, value can be found into small gestures in your day-to-day life. People follow people and someone they can relate to. If you are posting only book reviews and you take part of trends, how will people know the person behind the screen? How they can relate to you and why they should care about your book reviews in the first place? The moment I started sharing more about myself and started implementing storytelling into my carousels and reels, that's when I gained the most followers and I made the most sales. After I finished with filming and creating content, I am mostly reading for the rest of the day. I watch some shows with my fiance. Also, if you have some favorite shows or books, let me know in the comments. Always look for recommendations. Next video I will show you how I edit my reels in CapCut, how I use Lightroom to create content, and maybe how a workday looks for me, while I also try to create content throughout the day. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to comment if you want to see more content of my cats. I am trying to include them as much as possible, but all they do is usually sleep. And see you in the next one.